25 years ago today, Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace was released in theaters. While reception to the film was certainly mixed upon debut, a quarter-century worth of nostalgia has shed a brighter light on the motion picture. Fans have really begun to warm up to the first film chronologically in the Star Wars galaxy, and there's one thing for sure the film did fantastic, and that spawned a plethora of merchandise. More specifically, it ushered in the first ever year for LEGO Star Wars all the way back in 1999. Without Episode 1, this theme might have never existed, and for that, I'm sure we're all eternally grateful. To celebrate, I wanted to do my usual top 10 list, but because there are over 45 sets from this film, 10 didn't seem like quite enough. So, without further ado, here are my picks for the top 15 LEGO Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace sets. There's only one very simple rule for this list. It has to definitively be a set from Episode 1. That seems pretty self-explanatory to me, so let's jump in to the countdown. Number 15, 75091 Flashspeeder. If you're not a hardcore Star Wars fan, I wouldn't be surprised if you have no clue what this vehicle even is. The Flashspeeder has a very brief appearance in Episode 1. Frankly, it's kind of a blink and you miss it sort of situation. Because of this, LEGO hasn't dedicated a ton of time to this vehicle, only making 2 versions of it. The 2015 remake is by far the superior iteration. The first thing that catches my eye is the color scheme. A bright green is something we don't see often in LEGO Star Wars, so it's kind of a breath of fresh air. Secondly, this is a really slick build. The shaping is off the charts. Finally, the minifigure selection highlighted by Captain Tarples is surprisingly great. Obscure vehicle? Yes, but great set? Also yes. This thing is highly underrated. Number 14, 7115 Gungan Patrol. I recently just reviewed this set on the channel, shameless plug to go watch that video, and I raved about it. This is by far the closest thing we've ever gotten to a Gungan battle pack, and is the only set ever to include a Cadu. And yes, the designs from 2000 look outdated, but they're one of a kind, making this set something really unique in the LEGO Star Wars pantheon. This set is long overdue for a remake, but what we got 24 years ago was really solid for its time period. Number 13, 40686 Trade Federation Troop Carrier. Another set I recently reviewed, I crowned this year's May the 4th promo the best they've ever done. And I'm doubling down on that stance because this is the first time a promo has ever popped up on one of my countdown videos. I just love the reference of this set being pretty much an exact remake of the 2001 version of the exact same vehicle, but I also think it's a great army builder with 8 minifigures including 2 exclusive new battle droid pilots. This is everything a May the 4th promo should be and more. I love this set and I have 2 myself because it's that cool. Number 12, 10018 Darth Maul. This is a LEGO Star Wars bust, something they just don't really do often besides a couple of promotional items. And honestly, I'm surprised this looks so good, especially considering how old it is. Just look at that face. That is Ray Park as Darth Maul. They really captured the sadistic nature of the evil Sith character. This is another set I actually wouldn't mind LEGO taking a stab at, because I think some modern pieces and techniques could really enhance this build. Unfortunately, with the failure that was the Black Panther bust, I don't think we'll ever see anything like this again, but this thing is really fabulous, especially when considering it's over 20 years old. Number 11, 75381 Droida. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Buildable characters in LEGO Star Wars have been very hit or miss for me. Some of them, like the 2019 Yoda, popped up on my worst LEGO Star Wars sets of all time video. Others, like the most recent Droida, I think look really great. I've always found destroyer droids to be fascinating in Episode 1. I love their force fields, the way they shoot, and of course how they roll around. No force field is included here, but I don't know how LEGO could possibly replicate that without making a very specific and gigantic new piece, but it does have the ability to fold up into a ball and kind of roll around? Okay, not really, but it's a commendable effort nevertheless, and the rest of this this build looks so good. One of my favorite part usages ever appears on this set, the lipstick piece inverted to create the eyes. That was a stroke of brilliance. The buildable Droidica might just be my favorite brick-built droid LEGO has ever made. This thing looks awesome. Number 10, 75096 Sith Infiltrator. Believe it or not, LEGO has made 5 minifigure scale versions of Darth Maul's flagship, the Scimitar, otherwise known as the Sith Infiltrator. I've always really had a soft spot for this vehicle. It doesn't have a ton of screen time, but it's a really striking ship. It's also a pretty big ship in universe, but for some reason, a lot of the LEGO Star Wars sets they've made from it, specifically the new version that just came out this past May 4th, are really small. However, the one that came out in 2015 does not have this problem. It's a proper size and looks so much better. The shaping details are great, the use of the Prince of Persia dome pieces towards the back was fantastic, the interior is a lot more expansive and really holds everything well, and finally, the minifigure selection is great. I'll never complain about getting another Watto minifig. Number 9, 7155 Trade Federation AAT. This is just one of those universally agreed upon classic LEGO Star Wars sets. Last week, I ripped the remake of this set from 2015 to shreds. I think that one is horrible, but the version that came out 15 years before it is somehow way better. The use of those classic 90s saucer pieces at the front was fantastic, and the printing is really exquisite. It's also shaped up nicely and has aged incredibly well. I cannot believe this thing is nearly a quarter century old. Maybe someday LEGO will make a proper remake of this vehicle, but for now, the original AAT is still the best. Number 8, 9499 Gungan Sub. The Star Wars universe is chock full of walkers, spaceships, speeders, tanks, you name it. But submarines? Now that's different. 9499 obviously gets big brownie points for just being a unique LEGO Star Wars set. But it also has to be a good design, and that it is. The bubbly nature of the Gungan Sub doesn't really translate all that well to LEGO upon first glance, but they were able to capture it really effectively here. The shaping is immaculate, and I love the minifigures as well, highlighted by maybe the best LEGO Star Wars figure of all time, the legendary Queen Amidala. This set is a big win from a very underrated scene in the film. Number 7, 75086 Battle Droid Troop Carrier. The May 4th promo I just raved about actually isn't the best version of that vehicle LEGO has ever made. That title belongs to the 2015 Battle Droid Troop Carrier. For $40, you got over 500 pieces, 14 minifigures, and by far the most accurate representation of this vehicle to date. My only regret with this set is not buying more. I have one, but I wish I had like 10 to have a grand army for the Trade Federation. Number 6, 7171 Mos Espa Pod Race. You knew a set from 1999 had to make its way on this list at some point. And the best set of that year by far in my opinion is the Mos Espa Pod Race. While most of the other Phantom Menace sets from '99 have been surpassed by their remakes, this one still stands tall. Why, you may ask? Well, it's because you get not one, not two, but 3 pod racers. LEGO Star Wars 2-packs are fairly common, and there's a couple of them on this list, but getting 3 sizable vehicles in one set? Now that's something special. Sure, the designs are a bit outdated, but they have their early LEGO charm, and you also get Gasgano's pod, something that has not been remade since. This is one of the most complete LEGO Star Wars sets of all time, and a grail for any Phantom Menace collector. Number 5, 7665 Republic Cruiser. Most of the sets we've talked about on this list have had multiple versions throughout the years, but the Republic Cruiser was one and done from 2007. Before I say anything else, LEGO, please remake this set. I will buy it day one, and I think a lot of you would too. With that out of the way, this set is so high because it's so darn cool. I love the shape of this vehicle. It has a similar vibe to things like the Tantive 4, but also its own unique spin. And again, this set has a really cool color scheme. I'm starting to notice Phantom Menace sets have a very unique flair when compared to other Star Wars films. The red, accents of white, and hints of orange flow very well together. It's a really striking ship on a shelf. I love this thing, and I kinda hate my 10-year-old self for destroying it. I really wish I had it built in my collection. Number 4. 7660 Naboo and 1 Starfighter with Vulture Droid. Here is an honest-to-goodness 2-pack, with perhaps the best version of each of these respective vehicles. The Vulture Droid in brown and tan has only been made a couple of times, and this one is by far the most superior one. The Naboo Starfighter has had a lot of remakes throughout the years, but something about this one really captures me. It's very slick in design. And getting both of these vehicles in one set that only cost $30 back in 2007 was a mind-blowingly good deal. Heck, a Naboo Starfighter by itself retails for about $60 today with the Mandalorian's version. I can't imagine what it would cost with an extra Vulture Droid, like 80 bucks? What a great set. I had this as a kid, I recently got one at my local Bricks and Minifigs, it's truly a masterpiece. Number 3, 7962, Anakin Skywalker and Sebulba's Pod Racers. Remember when I was hyping up the 1999 Pod Race? Yeah, I love that set, but it has been surpassed by a remake from 2011. Unfortunately, this set does not have a third racer. That's a big miss, but the two we do get, Anakin and Sebulba's, are just masterful designs. Anakin's looks really cool, don't get me wrong, but Sebulba's is one of my favorite LEGO Star Wars builds of all time. Whoever decided to use the Power Miners wheel piece for the engines is a genius. Another brilliant choice from this set is using clear Technic pieces to give them the illusion that they are floating off the ground. That was brilliant beyond all belief. If this set included a third pod like the 99 version, it might have been number 1 on this list, but as it stands, it's still a fabulous LEGO Star Wars set.
This is Pod Racing.
Number 2. 10026 Special Edition Naboo Starfighter. Remember when LEGO made a 187-piece $40 UCS set back in 2002? Yeah, that's really weird because they've done absolutely nothing like this since. And even though it is Ultimate Collector's, why is the price to part ratio so bad, you may ask? Well, that's because it's shiny and chrome. Look at it. All of those chrome pieces are beautiful. We're lucky to even get a couple of drum lacquered silver parts these days. Having that much chrome in one set is just unheard of. Sadly, this thing goes for a lot, and I mean a lot of money new in a sealed box. You might have to take a mortgage out to buy it. And even more unfortunately, used copies are hard to find in good condition because chrome pieces tend to chip over time. This has been a grail of mine for over 2 decades, and I'm not sure if I'll ever actually get this set unless I become a millionaire at some point. However, that doesn't stop it from being one of the best Episode 1 sets. But what is better than this? It's number 1, 7662 Trade Federation MTT. If you watched my top 25 LEGO Star Wars sets video from a couple of weeks ago, you're probably not surprised this one is number 1 on this list. The 2007 Trade Federation MTT is just a goated set. The design hasn't just held up, it literally looks like a brand new set, but it's somehow 17 years old? The play value here is off the charts. They replicate all the things the MTT does from Episode 1 perfectly. And then of course there are the minifigures, a ton, and I mean a ton, a literal battalion, a garrison of battle droids is included here. Insane amounts of figures, 20, that is just wild. All of this came in a 1,300-piece set that only cost $100. We would never see anything close to that good of a deal today. 7662 is a legendary Star Wars set for a reason, and it had to top this list. But those are just my selections. Please let me know your list in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.